Good evening, welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the Marion City Council meeting for Thursday, November 7th. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jensen?
Here.
Mr. Harper?
Here.
Mr. Miskman?
Here.
Mayor Abu-Wasley?
Here.
Ms. Menser? Here. Mr. Brandt?
Here.
Mr. Sterned?
Here. Thank you. Can we have a moment of silence? Thank you. First on our agenda this evening is a presentation recognizing former Mayor Paul Wren. And we'll ask the fire chief to come forward and lead us in the presentation. I'll come down.
Paul, would you mind standing next to me?
Are you there?
Yeah, how about that? All right. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. It's my pleasure to honor Paul Wren tonight in his 48 years of voluntary service with the Marion Fire Department. And I'll share a quick story. One of the things that I've learned recently, and we shared an event yesterday evening at the fire department recognizing Paul, was his 48 years, starting on September 8th in 1976. But his application actually arrived 6 years prior to that. And he was sharing with me that when he was in the community, ironically, even the week before that event, he assisted on a fire in Marion. And so when I was learning about the background of this, as it turns out, and this just is some really neat, rich history, is that at that time, the way that firefighters were notified of fires is that there were bells installed in their homes, and they would be activated by the phone system. And so at that time, there weren't enough bells. And so with his application at that time, there wasn't enough for him to join. So in spirit, we are honoring Paul Wren this evening for his 40 years officially within the Marion Fire Department as he was able to join in 76, but in spirit, we're really considering 54 years. So pretty amazing. And so Paul began his service on September 8th, 1976, which is prior to the birth of many of our current firefighters, including me. So Paul served as a volunteer firefighter for 28 years. During that time, he would respond to fires and other emergencies, both from the fire station and from his home and away from his family. But his service to the department did not end there. Paul transitioned to the associate volunteer program, supporting the department in many other facets, including Honor Guard, the peer support team, which supports firefighters in their mental health following traumatic events, and lastly, community education events such as fire extinguisher training and community safety fairs. Over his tenure with the department, Paul received several commendations for the quality of his work on departmental strategic planning, community safety, and the department's Honor Guard program. Paul, as I shared yesterday evening, it's fair to say that where we are today is a great organization you helped build. Your service and dedication has set the bar for many of us to aspire to. And thank you very much, Paul, for 48 years of service. And Mayor, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Okay, join me up here. Before I present the plaque, I just want to add a little personal comment. I've known Paul since back in high school. Went to school with his kids, and I've known him since then, and we connected again when he presented me with the Citizen of the Year Award in 2008, and then he became mayor and served honorably as mayor, and has for many years served on commissions with the city. So 48 or 54, either way, that's pretty remarkable. That is committed service, that is a love for your community, and that is outstanding and commendable. On behalf of the entire city council, our entire city team, we thank you, and we owe you a great deal of gratitude for your service and your leadership and the honorable way in which you have served. And after I became mayor, Paul still today calls me periodically to check in on me and to see how I'm doing. If there's any issue in the news, he calls and offers his input and his perspective on it. And he's just been a great support for me. And I'm just so pleased to be able to present this award to him today. It says, Paul Wren, in appreciation of your 48 years of dedicated volunteer service to the city of Marion and its residents, September 1976 through September 2024.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I get on the other side of him?
Can we have Ann come up for?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Did you want to say a few words? Okay, go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you for this award. It's not why I did anything that I did, but it's certainly appreciated. Some of you, and I'm also, I don't want to be remiss here because I'll accept this award for my whole family, because there was many times that they were involved also. There were meals missed, there were kids' activities missed or gone too late due to civic activities interfering. So there was interference with my private life, but that's just part of the job. So I want to accept this reward on their behalf also. Some of you may have heard me say this before, but it's true, so I'll just say it again. It's been my belief and position all through my adult life that as citizens of this country, we have something to give. It's not just about us. We owe a debt of gratitude to the people who've come before us and to those who will come after us. At a minimum, I think that debt can be repaid by being a good citizen, paying taxes, being a good neighbor, obeying the laws, just being a good citizen. On the other end of the scale, there are those people who can do more than that, and I encourage that. I don't know why, but for some reason I seem to have fallen onto that part of the scale, and I have been able to do more. I don't know why I've been able to do more, but I would get a feeling and I would do it. And apparently I've been successful at it. At least nobody's told me otherwise or thrown me out yet, so I'll accept that as positive. So I'm grateful to the city. I'm grateful for all the thanks that I've gotten. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Paul. This time we have our first public forum which is a time that is set aside for comments from members of the public on any item that is on the agenda and not associated with a public hearing. I would like to review the rules for the public forum, rules of procedure. Again, this first public forum at the beginning of the meeting is for comments from members of the public related to agenda items that are not part of a public hearing. The second public forum at the end of the meeting is for any comment from members of the public. Please understand that no actions can be taken by the council related to comments in that public forum. There are yellow comment cards that can be found at the end of the table. Please complete and turn in the yellow comment card to the city clerk when you come forward to speak. Please do not approach the dais. If you have handouts to submit to the council, please give them to the clerk. Once you're called forward, you're encouraged to state your name and any group affiliation. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes and no more than 5 minutes. Please do not engage in conduct or speech that is imminently threatening or which incites violence or which is obscene. Please refrain from disparaging any individual. Keep comments relevant to the topic at hand. Please avoid repeating comments made by other individuals. Anyone speaking or attending the meeting should not engage in conduct that disrupts the orderly progress of the meeting or engage in speech or conduct that interferes with others' ability to participate in the meeting. Failure to adhere to these guidelines may result in a removal from the meeting. We appreciate everyone cooperating and adhering to these guidelines or rules. We'll proceed with the first public forum. If there's anyone here to address council on any topic that is on the agenda but not part of a public hearing, you're asked to come forward at this time. If you have a comment regarding any topic that's part of a public hearing, there should be comment time when that item is brought forward in the meeting. Please come forward.
Hi, Mayor and Council. Jill Ackerman with the Marion Chamber of Commerce. I'm just here because we brought a question or a concern forward from one of our uptown businesses to our economic development meeting on Tuesday. And I was asking Ryan about what the plans were for expanding the Uptown Artway, because we've been talking about that for a few years. And he said, wait a second. And he starts bringing up the CIP. And he showed us all of the things that are going to be funded within the next CIP. And then there was a list that they showed at the work session on Tuesday that was in yellow of potential projects that the council might be considering. And the utilities in the what I would call the Artway extension that runs behind Mix and runs behind the Hipster are in that yellow section of the CIP. And so I just wanted to encourage the council to please consider that. I know it's potentially as far as 5 years out for funding those utilities, but it's been such an incredible project and really has made Marion different from all other communities across the state. And we want that same opportunity for the businesses a little further down. I think there's opportunity also behind Bell Tower, the Bell Tower project. And so we just really want to see that activity continue. And I know that Tim from Hipster, I think he's going to come up afterwards, after me as well. And he wants to voice his support for that. But we'll be reaching out to council members individually too, to kind of talk through that, and just want to keep that project top of mind. I think it's really important. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else address council, please come forward. Yeah, please hand that to the clerk. Thank you.
Okay, so my name's Tim Kendall. This is going to be a little off the cuff. This was news kind of brought to me earlier this week and been super busy. So Yeah, I am one of the owners of Hipster, also one of the owners of the property as well. If you're familiar with our restaurant group, it's F&F Restaurant Group. We now have, as of yesterday, 6 restaurants that we manage. And Marion was an exciting kind of project for us. It was the first time stepping out of Cedar Rapids. And when we came, we had a meeting with Nick, and I believe Jill was there as well. And we kind of wanted to know what was going on in Marion. You know, there's a lot of things, exciting things going on here. The projects, the streetscape, we knew that was kind of all coming. And so in that meeting, that back alleyway behind the property we were thinking about purchasing was kind of, hey, this is gonna extend what you guys have already done in your alley artway. And we were super excited about that. That was one of the main reasons we made the jump to come to Marion and build the restaurant and purchase the building. And so, we've kind of asked about it over the years, kind of what's going on. And you guys have done such an amazing job at the courtyard. Obviously, the ice skating rink, it's going to be a huge addition. We're very excited about that as well. And Hipster this summer, we are coming off the best summer we've ever had there. And we think that is an account to obviously the street being done, the courtyard being done, the alley artway. And so congrats on that. It's awesome. We're really looking forward to that. And next winter, we have a fun project. I think we're going to bring the Marion in the restaurant. Can't talk about it, but I think it's going to draw a lot of people, especially with your ice skating rink situation going on. With that said, as Jill stated, I wanted to talk about the alleyway behind us and kind of how we see it and how we would love to utilize it and how we would love to be part of what's actually going on, a football field away roughly. Excuse me. And so, I'm here to advocate for it. I would love to see it. I think our area is kind of an eyesore. We've brought up building more back there, but we're scared to do that simply because we don't want to get tore out. Because when you guys decide kind of move forward or whatever, somebody says yes and it happens. And so we would love to improve our area, but we don't want to do it without knowing kind of what's going on. So that's kind of that's why I'm here. I'd love to see it. I think there's a lot of opportunity over there. There's businesses over there that could use that draw of people that are, in the courtyard or down closer in between the buildings, the first part of the art walkway. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments and appreciate your being part of our progress. Thank you. Anyone else to address council, please come forward. Okay, we'll close this part of the meeting and proceed to the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as follows. This will be items A1 through E1, including resolutions 32132 through 32156.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented, including items A1 through E1, including resolutions 32132 to 32156. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. For the next section, I will turn over the meeting to the Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Abu Asali's abstention. And this is for one item, D1, resolution number 32157.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Abu Asali's abstention as presented, including resolution 32157. Discussion? Call the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Motion carried with one abstention. We have one more. That will open up a public hearing on a development agreement with 1277 8th Avenue LLC, which is Bell Tower Lofts. We have a presentation.
Yes, just a brief one. This development agreement is associated with the Bell Tower Lofts. As we're all familiar, the 55-unit conversion of the former Methodist Church. They were awarded just under 2.5 million from the CDBG-DR Housing Fund to replace homes and units that were lost in derecho. Kind of comes in two different forms. There will be a 10-year, 100% tax TIF rebate, not to exceed 475,000, and that will follow the initial 10-year, 100% urban revitalization abatement, estimated about 290,000 for a total of $760,000. As part of that agreement will be the parking element. I know there's always been kind of front topic on this project. As we know, he has parking spots on site, an additional 13 in the Farmer State Bank site to the east of the project. Those are leased spots from the bank. That agreement basically requires with the check-ins that that the developer or the owner of the property is always pursuing additional parking should that lease terminate. That he's always there's a good faith effort that he is pursuing parking again should that site not become available. Quick little update. They are doing demolition on the interior of the site now. Site work will begin June 2025. Exterior work is probably spring of next year. And we're looking at an 18-month, I believe, construction timeline on that project. So opening in 2026, mid-2026.
Thank you. With that, we will open up the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the project? Please come forward. Let's give us your name and address.
Mayor and members of council, Darrell High, 211 First Avenue, Southeast Cedar Rapids, High Properties and Bell Tower Place. I think we've talked about this project a number of times, so I won't go into a lot of details, but I'm here to answer any questions right after I hand the clerk. I'm glad that the fire chief started with the bell for Officer Wren because we found a bell this week too. So we're pretty excited about that, and I brought some pictures for the council yeah, I can talk a little bit about the parking, and I know there was also a little bit of concerns about what is in the parking lot. I also brought a copy of our lease that addresses all the items that we do related to parking on all of our parking sites around that we have for lease. I'm happy to answer questions, or I can leave the copy of the lease for the city council.
Questions? Questions on? Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of or against the project? Please come forward. Did we receive any comments?
I have not received any.
No. With that, we will close the public hearing and move on to the next item on the agenda.
Yes, Your Honor. I move to approve resolution number 32-158, approving development agreement with 1277 8th Avenue LLC, authorizing annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement. This is for bell tower loss.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 32158, approving the development agreement with 1277 8th Avenue LLC. Any discussion? Questions? Any discussion?
Yeah.
Good. Good. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dave, can you just, again, just recap briefly on-site parking versus off-site parking arrangements that have been made?
Yes.
The number of slots?
I believe it's, let me check my notes here. I believe it's 13 off-site on the Farmer State Bank lot and 26 spots on site, which will be east of the kind of the classroom wing,
Right,
where they're there today. And then the balance we kind of dispersed throughout the neighborhood. There was actually quite a few spots identified within 300 feet.
The follow-on question I would have, and I'm sorry I didn't ask this on Tuesday, but did our parking study accommodate that kind of parking load for this project? Was that included in that analysis?
It was, we did a separate one. The parking study wasn't quite done when this project was coming forward. You may recall, we modeled bell tower lofts, Oath Flats, and made some assumptions on the former library lot.
Sure.
And the bell tower lofts and Hoth Flats were still operating within the green. So they were there's still spots available. It became a little triggered with the potential on the former library site, but I think we assumed it was 75 plus units on that lot. So it was a kind of a big number. And that kind of triggered a, hey, just be mindful, kind of alert in the model. So we did account for it. There was ample parking after both this project and the Hoth Flats would be approved or would be completed.
Okay, thanks for that additional information. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? That we will vote. All those in favor, please say aye of resolution number 32158.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried with one abstention. And with that, I'll turn it back to the mayor.
I will just add, finding the bell created a lot of buzz and excitement around the community. As I shared with Daryl earlier today, anyone who grew up in Marion knows the sound of that bell. I grew up on the north side of the city and could hear the bell all the way up there. I think it could be heard anywhere in the city, and so there's a lot of sentimental value to that bell, and the story of how it, what happened to it with the derecho and it being found, and I think that just creates a lot more interest in that bell, and will just be a good story that can be part of our community's history and story going forward, and that we can share and visitors can learn about. So thank you.
So Mayor,
Yes, sir.
so I think Daryl also, before the meeting started, Daryl also shared with us how much that bell weighs.
700 pounds.
700 pounds. So looking forward to seeing where its new home will be in the future.
Did I see a piece on there that Brandon told me? There's a date on it, 1879, 1849?
Actually, I haven't seen the bell.
Come up,
Under the microphone, thanks.
I'm sorry, Councilmember, I haven't seen the bell. I saw the pictures of it after they unearthed it. I didn't know how much it weighed until I sent the guys over there to get it. And so we took it off-site. We're going to return it tomorrow for the news media to see it, and then we're going to put it in storage so nothing happens to it. And if I may, the top idea for the bell is to display it on the future art walk with like a wishing well or some kind of way for it to be seen when people are out and about. So that's the top idea. And so, yes,
I
ma'am.
understand correctly, it was under quite a few layers of flooring they had to dig it out from.
It's almost incredible how it got to where it was and how covered up it was with mud. I think there's a picture. If there's not, I can send one where it shows just to the edge of the bell when they first started unearthing it. And that's really what they did. When it came down, I don't know how it didn't break. I mean, it's just a miracle. I mean, even as far as that thing had to fall, and as much debris as it had to hit before it ended up where it was. I know it weighs a lot, but it took a blow, and it looks to be, from the pictures I've seen, I'll see it in person tomorrow. It looks to be in good shape, and we don't plan to touch it. We don't plan to mess with it at all. We'll get some expertise past what we know about things like that and how to protect it, as we go forward.
Thank you.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 24-14, amending various sections of the Marion Code of Ordinances, including section 126-98 relating to housing code and chapter 181 relating to human rights and fair housing. And this is our final consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the final consideration of ordinance number 24-14, amending Marion Code of Ordinances, including section 126-98 and chapter 181. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving ordinance number 24-14, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 24-17, amending various sections of the Marion Code of Ordinances, including Chapter 223-11 regarding nuisance abatement and Chapter 313, Article 12 regarding automated traffic enforcement. This is the initial consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the initial consideration of ordinance number 24-17, amending various sections of the Code of Ordinances, including Chapter 223-11 regarding nuisance abatement and Chapter 313, Article 12 regarding automated traffic enforcement. Discussion? All those in favor of approving ordinance number 24-17, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved. Mr. Brandt?
That's me. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 24-16, amending chapter 24, article 3 of the Marion Code of Ordinances regarding the fire department. Second consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 24-16, amending chapter 24, article 3 of the Code of Ordinances regarding the fire department. Discussion. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 24-16, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved. At this time, we have a public hearing regarding the Tower Terrace Road Irish Drive Traffic Signal Upgrade Project. We have Mike Barcolo with a presentation. Go ahead.
So for those aware of the location, so this is the existing emergency signal that we have right outside of Fire Station 1 and the YMCA at Irish Drive and Tower Terrace. So this will take it from the existing flashing mode and make it to what we call colors and an fully activated signal. So this is adding cameras, pedestrian crossing. So we'll add the push buttons and take the bags off of the stuff and get it all incorporated. So as part of this project, we needed to get 3 bids for the project. The low bid came in from Eastern Iowa Excavating at $81,016.15, which was 76.2% of the engineer's estimate. The start date is the notice to proceed is NTP, with substantial completion by May of 25. There are liquidated damages of $300 per day, and we are recommending proceeding with the plans and the contract.
Okay, thank you. We'll save questions until we get to the motion. At this time, the public hearing is open. If anyone is here to address the council, either in favor or in opposition to this measure, please come forward. Okay, we'll ask the staff if we've received comments outside the meeting.
I have not received any.
If not,
Please note that for the record. And we'll close the public hearing and proceed to the motion.
Mayor, I move to approve project calendar regarding the Tower Terrace Road and Irish Drive traffic signal upgrade project as follows. This will be resolutions 32159 through 32160.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the project calendar for the Tower Terrace Road Irish Drive traffic signal upgrade project, including resolutions 32159 through 32160. Discussion. Mike, what was the budgeted amount for this? I seem to remember it was much higher than what the bids are.
yeah, I want to say 200,000 was the.
Okay, yeah.
But we also did have to pay a haul and haul to do the design, so there was a small
Okay.
portion that was come out of that as well.
We're still well under
We're well
budget.
under budget.
That's great. It's always a good thing.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving the project calendar for the Tower Terrace Road Irish Drive traffic signal upgrade project, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 24-18, amending chapter 313-10.10 and 313-10.11 of the Marion Code of Ordinances regarding snow routes and winter storm parking, and this is the initial consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 24-18, amending chapter 313-10.10 and 313-10.11 of the Code of Ordinances regarding snow routes and winter storm parking. Discussion? All those in favor of approving ordinance number 24-18, please say aye. All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. Next item is a public hearing regarding a request to rezone property from urban transitional commercial to planned unit development for 801 10th Street. This is the Hoth Properties Project. We'll take a presentation from Dave.
Yes, as you stated, this is a request to rezone property from UTC one to PUD, Plan Unit Development. This is to support the Hoth Flats project, that 22 unit multi-story multifamily project there on the corner of 10th Street and 8th Avenue. The primary request for the PUD is relief from the setback requirements of the underlying UTC one zoning district. They needed some relief from the setbacks as well as the height. The underlying district restricted those a little bit. The zoning also allows a reduction in the parking. They will be parked at 1-to-1 on the site with any additional overflow visitor parking to be accommodated inside, or I'm sorry, on the public street. While the site plan and elevations are not before the council tonight, they will be coming at the second meeting in December. I have those on the screen for your review as you consider the rezoning. General site plan on the site there. You can see how the building is up front toward the street, addressing the public sidewalk. All three stories are generally the same, with the ground floor being enclosed parking with the additional surface parking on the outside. These are all the elevations, all sides. This will be the 8th Avenue side, and this will be the 10th Street side. Again, it's mostly a brick masonry component. They do utilize some paneling and vertical siding kind of in the recessed areas of the balconies. Again, tonight is just a rezoning request. You will be seeing the full plans at the second meeting in December. Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this last month and recommended approval.
Okay, thank you. We'll hold questions until we get to the motion. At this time, the public hearing is open. If anyone is here to address council, either in favor or in opposition to this measure, please come forward at this time. Did you fill out a card, or
I will.
maybe you can do that afterwards and give it to the clerk? Thanks.
Okay.
Just state your name and address if you would mind. Thank you.
Sounds great. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Jerry Waddle from Iowa City, but here on behalf of Hoth Flats, the developer. We're excited to be able to provide housing in Uptown Marion and bring residents or retain residents in the Uptown area to hopefully enjoy the amenities that are here in the community. We were grateful or fortunate to receive a CDBG DR grant as well. Just under $2 million for this project. And so we look forward to building it next year. We'll also look to bring it online in summer of 2026. Thank you.
Any questions for him before he sits down? Okay. All right, anyone else to address council, please come forward. Okay, we'll ask the staff if you've received any comments outside the meeting.
I have not received any.
I have not.
Okay, please note that for the record. We'll close the public hearing and proceed to the motion.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 24-19, approving a request to rezone property from UTC 1, Urban Transitional Commercial 1 to PUD, Planned Unit Development for property located at 801 10th Street in Marion, Iowa. And this is on behalf of Hoth Properties LLC. This is our initial consideration.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 24-19, approving the request to rezone 801 10th Street to planned unit development. Discussion on the motion? Go ahead.
Just have a quick question. I know this item is about the rezoning, but since we pulled up the renderings, is the parking then, is that just the first story or does that go underground?
No, it's really just the.
It's just on the base, okay.
Sorry, so the rendering here, this would be the backside, north side of the building, single garage location, so it's more or less at that grade. You get to the front, it may be down a little bit on the front side, but the backside's the full, so.
Okay, cool.
And 3 floors above that.
Correct.
Okay.
3 residential floors
4
above.
floors.
Yeah. Any other questions or discussion on whether or not to approve this? Go ahead, Steve.
No, I think first of all, I'm in complete support, have been for several years in the urban living that's going on in Uptown Marion. So to me, that's a positive thing. The Bell Tower project, this project are very good examples of doing that. However, again, I do personally believe that these type of projects will end up putting a burden on the parking in the surrounding neighborhoods of these projects. So I am glad to see, at least, don't know if everybody and the rest of the community knows it, but we're kicking off a parking commission. Is that what that's called, Dave?
It'll be a committee, yeah, by
Parking committee?
Parking study committee or parking
Yeah,
implementation.
parking study
Committee,
committee. So I think, to me, that the timing of that is perfect timing because these 2 projects are just kicking off. They're at least another 18 months down the road to complete. So I think that gives us an opportunity for the city to start figuring out what is going to be needed. Again, I think, in my opinion, having the 1-to-1 parking is the absolute minimum. We made the rare exception in the Bell Tower project because of its historic significance. But other than that, I think anything even approaching less than 1-to-1 in the future would be certainly not advisable for our city to consider. But at least they're 1-to-1 and I can support that.
Any other discussion? Again, this evening, we're voting on the rezoning.
Right.
Any further discussion before we vote? All those in favor of ordinance number 24-19, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. The next item is a public hearing on a preliminary site development plan for Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers Restaurant for the property at 6001 Carlson Way. That is the northeast corner of Highway 13 and 151. Can we have the presentation, please?
Yeah. This is a public hearing associated with item E4, but it also really covers E5. They're essentially the same document. It's just some legislative things we have to do. So I'll be when I'm presenting it, I'm really presenting for both items. So yes, this is a public hearing for approval of the preliminary site development plan for Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers Restaurant. This will be out on Highway 13 and 151. And the highlighted property is that corner triangle. I think everybody's familiar with DePaco to the north, and Poncheros, Jersey Mike's to the east there. So it'll be a standalone restaurant, just over 3,000 square feet. Pretty well-developed site plan. We'll go over really quickly. This is a drive-through restaurant. You can see all the stacking. They've actually over-accommodated and exceeded minimum code requirements for our recently adopted drive-through standards. So it'll accommodate everything on site. We don't anticipate anything overflowing onto Carlson Way. Maybe that first week excitement. But normal operations will be accommodated 100% on property. Parking, fully parked on the site. They actually meet the requirements that they are generating. As you recall, as we've developed this, I've always been a little nervous about not meeting the parking requirements. We keep stealing and borrowing all the way down the line, but they do accommodate themselves 100%. So they do remove quite a bit of just parking that showed up one day out there. That they do remove that. It's commonly used, not heavily, and incorporate it into their own site. They do maintain the connection to the adjacent property to the east without actually having to go back out onto Carlson Way. We like that through traffic, so you're not always dumping them back onto the street and having to go back in. So it's all handled internally. As we look at the building, It's a variety of materials on the site. And they do meet all the primary requirements of the 13 and 151 design guidelines. A little more unique than the rest of the community guidelines out there. It's more contemporary architecture. But we have a Nietzsche-Hoff fiber cement, which is the primary material. That's most of the light items. And then you have a brick veneer on several portions of the building. There is an outdoor patio component on the north side of the building, and the balance is glass. So it's a fairly typical model of Freddy's, but we have pushed them to make sure they meet and exceed the 13 and 151 requirements. So it's a little different model. I mean, same general layout, but they did meet and exceed all of our asks out there. There is one in a little accessory building that has the dumpster enclosure, as well as a little dry goods storage building on the south side. Those renderings were not provided they're in the staff report, but not on the image. So the Planning and Zoning Commission did review this, and they recommended approval of both the preliminary site development plan, which is item E4, as well as the final site development plan, which is item E5.
Okay. At this time, the public hearing is open. If anyone has any comments to present to the council, either in favor or in opposition, please come forward.
Hello, Mayor and council members. My name's Jason, one of the regional managers for Freddy's Frozen Custard on behalf of MLY Real Estate LLC. Looking forward to being part of the community and appreciate your guys' consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Thank you.
Any questions?
Oh, looks good.
Okay. And if you, afterwards, if you can fill out the card for the clerk, that'd be great. Thank you. Anyone else to address council, please come forward. Okay, we'll ask the staff if we received any comments outside the meeting.
I have not received any.
I have not.
Okay, with that, we'll close the public hearing and proceed to the motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 32161, approving Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers Restaurant preliminary site development plan for property located at 6001 Carlson Way, Marion, Iowa, and this is MLY Real Estate LLC.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 32161, approving the Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers Restaurant preliminary site development plan for 6001 Carlson Way. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving resolution number 32161, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 32162, approving Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers Restaurant final site development plan for property located at 6001 Carlson Way, Marion, Iowa, MLY Real Estate LLC.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 32162, approving Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers Restaurant final site development plan for 6001 Carlson Way. Any discussion?
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
Just curious if there's a time frame of completion on this.
I would turn that over to the applicant to answer that question.
Gotcha.
Yeah, estimated timeline I was given was about late April. So worst case, late spring, maybe possibly early summer. So about 5 months.
That's quick. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I should just comment about the fact that you went above and beyond what our requirements are for the drive-through. Really appreciate that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 32162, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. The next item is a public hearing regarding amendments to chapter 340 of the Code of Ordinances relating to zoning definitions, parking and loading regulations, landscape and screening standards, and accessory structure setbacks. Um, the Public hearing is now open. You have a presentation?
Yeah, a brief one.
Yeah.
These are several code updates to the zoning code. They kind of mirror the items that you have previously approved on just updating some of the languages, but it had to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Just want to highlight the first three codes amendments are really just a little bit more inclusive terms and matching into the state code versus the terms that we were using within the zoning code. And then the item number 4 was just related to the reorganization of public works engineering. So pretty minor. The bigger one, I used a lot of words to say the exact same thing on the code amendment, but our zoning code and our building code were a little out of sync. So we've amended our zoning code to reflect what the building code requires of a 5-foot setback for a detached accessory structure like a garage or a shed. So instead of saying 3 feet, you now have to be 5 feet, but you can go back down to 3 feet if you have proper fire protections when you construct a garage. So it keeps all the garages that have been built in the last 30 years basically legal. If something should happen and they want to rebuild it, they'll still be able to rebuild it 3 feet as long as they're willing to put the fire protection in, which is really just extra drywall. So it's a pretty minimal cost to be able to rebuild. But again, it just matches up with the building code, ends the confusion between the two codes, and hopefully clarifies it for the residents a little bit easier. Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of all 5 code section amendments.
Okay. So do we take public comment at this point? If anyone's here to address council, either in favor or in opposition of this measure, please come forward. Okay, did we receive comments outside the meeting?
I have not received any.
I have not.
Please note that for the record. We'll close the public hearing and proceed to the motion.
I'll do it. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance, am I on the right thing? Yes. Move to approve ordinance number 24-20, approving amendments to chapter 340 of the Marion Code of Ordinances related to zoning definitions, parking and loading regulations, landscape and screening standards, and accessory structure setbacks. Initial consideration.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 24-20, approving amendments to chapter 340 of the Code of Ordinances relating to zoning definitions, parking and loading regulations, landscape and screening standards, and accessory structure setbacks. Any discussion? Questions for Dave? Okay, all those in favor of ordinance number 24-20, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. Next item is our second public forum, which is a time set aside for comments from members of the public on any topic. If there's anyone here to address council, please come forward. Okay, seeing no one's coming forward, we will close the public comment section and proceed to council comments. We'll start with Mr. Jensen.
None.
None for me, Your Honor.
Me either.
Mine is just, we attended, Gage and I attended a roundtable with the mayor of Cedar Rapids and the mayor of Hiawatha and our fine mayor yesterday. And just wanted to say, I know you always do a great job and you're everywhere with a million things that you do all the time, but it was great to have be there while you let all the attendees know the great things we have going on here. So thank you for that, Mayor.
Thank you.
And then just a shout out Monday, Veterans Day. Father who's a veteran, thank you to our veterans, but it was a big event at Hy-Vee and others throughout the community. So I hope we put that day off. We're there to celebrate our veterans, and I look forward to all that's happening around here. That's all I've got.
Will?
I'm good.
Ready.
Yep, just a couple things. I had to, in order to keep in theme of the presidents, I had to look up what president we had in 1976 for Paul Wren. It was General Ford, or Gerald Ford. I had the honor of working alongside of Paul in the firefighter's capacity. So we've been very fortunate to have him and wish him he's had multiple retirements, but I guess we'll say he's off of the fire department now. So anyway, it was a pleasure working with him. that capacity. As well too, just wanted to welcome Freddy's Frozen Custard to the community and the other ones that are navigating and working through the process. It's always exciting to see new businesses wanting to move to our area and our community and become part of our community. So wish them great success and look forward to having them in Marion.
Thank you. For my part, since the last meeting, along with my paying job, I've attended some meetings by a working group, for a working group on regionalism, trying to work on regional issues between the north and the south corridor. We're also working on the mayor's growth initiative on this end of the corridor. So we had some meetings for that. I attended the joint meeting with the Board of Health, the Lynn County Board of Health annual, their annual meeting that they have jointly with the city's officials and their board and the county Board of Supervisors. We had the joint meeting with the Planning and Zoning Commission on the comprehensive plan update. A number of us attended the 40 under 40 banquet to support Jacob Hahn and cheer him on as he represented the city. We met with the team from IMON and heard about their completing in 3 years their build out in Marion when they had very little in Marion 3 years ago, and they have completed the build out of their system in Marion, which was pretty impressive. We attended on Sunday, Steve and Mike Simprich and Grant. We attended the celebration of trees at Monarch Research, celebrating the planting of 100,000 trees since the derecho. That's just the trees that have been sponsored by Monarch Research, besides all the other trees that have been planted. But 100,000 trees is pretty amazing, and launching plans for another 100,000 trees coming up. So that was a great celebration. Yesterday, Uptown Marion was featured at Good Morning Cedar Rapids, and the Great Marion Business also won a Bravo Award during that event. Always a fun event. But the Uptown Director and I were asked to share all the great things that are happening in Uptown Marion in front of a crowd of 650 people. So that was a great opportunity to represent the city. Later that day, I attended the Mayor's Roundtable, and I appreciate everyone who went to support. And then I've had some really great meetings with developers, potential developers, business owners. There's a lot of great interest, as Randy mentioned, and we're seeing that. We're seeing the uptick and people wanting to be part of our progress and part of all the great things that are happening. And it's not by chance. It's because there's a lot of people doing a lot of great work to lay the groundwork and to create this environment and to create this amazing place that people want to be part of and businesses want to be a part of. So kudos to everyone. Please keep reaching higher and working together to make great things happen. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time. And happy Veterans Day to all veterans. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.